The morning sunlight poured gently through the small windows of the tiny apartment, casting soft patterns on the worn wooden floor. The smell of freshly brewed coffee, mixed with the faint scent of old books and faint traces of yesterday's laundry. She quietly tiptoed across the room to the small kitchen, careful not to wake her son. He had stayed up late the night before, fingers dancing across the keys of a second-hand piano that had seen better days. Even with its chipped edges and slightly out-of-tune notes, it had become his world, a place where he could dream freely. She had always been a hard worker, moving from one job to another to make ends meet. Being a single mother was not easy, but she had never once let it stop her from giving her son love and attention. Every morning, she prepared a simple breakfast of toast and eggs while her mind wandered to the day ahead. Serving tables at a small diner was exhausting work, but it was honest, and it allowed her to support her son, even if just barely. As she carried the breakfast to the living room, she smiled softly at him, still curled up on the worn rug with his eyes closed, dreaming perhaps of melodies that had not yet been written. She placed the plate beside him and gently shook his shoulder. His eyes fluttered open, still heavy with sleep, and a small smile spread across his face. She could see the spark in his eyes, a spark that reminded her every day why all the sacrifices were worth it. After breakfast, she helped him get ready for school, making sure his backpack was packed with lunch and books. Even in their modest apartment, she tried to make life feel normal and joyful. She encouraged him to practice the piano every day, believing that one day his talent could take him far beyond the small town they called home. She knew it wouldn't be easy, and the road ahead would be full of challenges. But she had learned long ago that perseverance often outweighed obstacles. While he walked to the bus stop, she lingered at the window, watching him go with a mix of pride and worry. She wondered if the world would recognize his talent as she did. The boy had a natural gift, an intuitive understanding of music that seemed beyond his years. He could take a simple melody and twist it into something magical, something that could make people stop and listen, even if only for a moment. But opportunities were rare, and without guidance and support, talent alone was never enough. The diner was already bustling with the early morning rush when she arrived. The familiar faces of regular customers greeted her with smiles and small talk. She moved quickly and efficiently, taking orders, carrying plates, and filling coffee cups with practiced ease. Her hands moved almost automatically, but her mind often wandered back to her son, imagining him playing piano in a grand hall. The applause filling the room, the joy of seeing his dreams come true. It was a daydream she held onto fiercely, even in the midst of exhausting work. Lunch service passed in a blur, and she stole a few minutes in the back to check on her son's practice. She called him from school, asking how his morning went and if he had a chance to play. The boy's voice was full of energy, telling her about the new piece he was learning and how he had managed to get a few notes right without mistakes. His enthusiasm lifted her spirits, reminding her why every long hour at the diner mattered. After work, she returned home, tired but determined to spend quality time with her son. She found him sitting at the piano, small fingers moving carefully across the keys. The notes were tentative at first, but gradually they flowed into something beautiful, a melody that seemed to come straight from his heart. She listened quietly, letting herself be carried by the music, feeling a deep connection that transcended words. This was more than just practice. It was a form of expression, a way for him to communicate emotions that he could not yet put into speech. Dinner was simple, often leftovers or something quick to prepare, but they always ate together. Conversation was light, mostly about school, friends, and the piano. She encouraged him to talk about his dreams, no matter how big or impossible they might seem. She wanted him to believe that he could achieve anything if he worked hard and remained dedicated. Evenings were her favorite time. The world outside slowed down, and the apartment was filled with the soft glow of lamps and the sound of piano music. She would sit nearby, sometimes reading, sometimes simply listening, and marveling at how much he had grown in such a short time. She remembered the early days when he first touched the piano keys, the awkward notes, the frustration, and the tears. Now, his music was fluid, expressive, and undeniably talented. She felt a sense of pride mixed with awe. knowing that she had nurtured something extraordinary in the midst of ordinary life. But life was not without its struggles. Tight, and there were times when she had to choose between paying bills and buying sheet music or piano lessons. She often went without, skipping meals or cutting back on necessities, so her son could have what he needed to grow. Every dollar spent on him felt like an investment in his future, a future she could only hope would be brighter than their present. She never complained, never let the stress show, because she knew that her attitude shaped how her son viewed the world. On weekends, they explored small opportunities for him to perform. School events, local talent shows, and community gatherings became stages for him to showcase his skill. Though the audiences were small and the recognition limited, each performance was a step forward, a chance to gain confidence and experience. She watched him nervously, heart pounding with each note he played, but always ready with a proud smile at the end, regardless of the outcome. There were moments of doubt, too. She sometimes wondered if her sacrifices were enough, if the world would ever notice his talent, if the struggles were worth it. But then she would hear him practice in the quiet of the night, the music filling the small apartment, and all her doubts would vanish. She knew, deep down, that this gift was rare and precious, and she would do anything to help him succeed. As night fell, she tucked him into bed, smoothing back his hair and listening to him talk about the music he had created that day. She encouraged him to dream bigger, to imagine playing in concert halls and sharing his talent with people who would truly appreciate it. His eyes would light up with excitement, and she felt a rush of hope for what the future might hold. Finally, when the apartment was quiet and the world outside had gone to sleep, she sat alone at the small kitchen table, hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea. She thought about the long journey ahead, the challenges they would face, and the sacrifices that still lay in store. But she also thought about the boy she was raising, the extraordinary gift in his hands, and the endless possibilities that awaited him. A smile crept across her face, a mixture of pride, love, and unwavering belief. No matter what happened, she knew one thing for certain: she would always be there, lifting him up, supporting him, and watching as his dreams slowly but surely began to take shape. The world outside was quiet, but inside their small apartment, music lingered in the air, a testament to hope, perseverance, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her son. And in that gentle silence, she allowed herself to dream along, with him imagining a day when the notes he played would not only fill the room, but echo far beyond, reaching the hearts of people who had yet to discover the magic he carried within him. The morning sun broke through the clouds, painting the quiet town in soft hues of gold. The small streets bustled lightly with people starting their day, going about their routines, unaware that a story was quietly unfolding that might change lives. She walked her usual path to the diner, bag slung over her shoulder, balancing the familiarity of her life with the small spark of hope that her son's music always gave her. She had learned to appreciate these small moments, the ordinary mornings, because they were part of a bigger journey she hoped would lead to something extraordinary. Her son, meanwhile, was already at the small piano in the living room, practicing a new piece he had found in an old book of music. The notes were tricky, but he persisted, his fingers moving with a mix of curiosity and determination. He did not realize how naturally talented he was. For him, playing was about expression, not recognition. The music was his language, and he spoke it with a purity that touched anyone who took the time to listen. He had no idea that soon someone outside their small world would notice, someone whose life was so different from theirs that it seemed impossible they would ever cross paths. The diner was alive with morning energy. Regular customers chatted over cups of coffee, the smell of sizzling bacon and frying eggs filling the air. She greeted everyone with a warm smile, taking orders and moving with practiced ease. On days like this, her routine could feel monotonous, but she never let it dampen her spirit. Each day was another opportunity to support her son, 2 inches closer to the dreams she held in her heart for him. On this particular day, a man walked into the diner who did not belong to the usual crowd. He was well-dressed, calm, and carried an air of quiet authority. He sat in a corner booth scanning the menu, but mostly observing. She served him with the usual cheer, unaware of how significant this encounter would become. He sipped his coffee slowly, watching the small interactions around him, but his attention was caught by something else entirely. He noticed the boy walking past the window outside, carrying his backpack, humming a tune that seemed unusually refined for his age. Curiosity led the man to ask about the boy. She smiled, telling him that her son loved music and spent every free moment practicing on their old piano. She spoke with pride, her eyes lighting up as she described his persistence and dedication. She did not know who he was or what influence he might have, but she felt comfortable sharing this small piece of her life with a stranger. There was no agenda, no expectation, only the simple desire to tell someone about her son's passion. Later that week, the man returned. This time he asked if he could see the boy play. The mother hesitated, wondering why this stranger was so interested, but she agreed. She wanted her son to be encouraged, and if sharing his music could do that, it was worth the risk. When her son started playing, his fingers glided over the keys with a confidence that belied his years. The melody was alive, weaving stories of hope, struggle, and dreams in every note. The man's expression softened, a smile breaking across his face. He had seen many talented children in his life, but there was something about this boy's playing that felt different, full of emotion and undeniably special. He asked questions about the boy's training, about lessons, books, and practice routines. She explained that they did what they could, mostly relying on free online tutorials and borrowed sheet music. Lessons were a luxury they could not afford, but she had always believed that dedication could sometimes make up for resources. She spoke with honesty, sharing the challenges of raising a child with talent in a world that often overlooked potential when money or connections were lacking. The man listened intently, nodding and occasionally taking notes. He seemed genuinely interested, not only in the boy's talent, but in the story behind it. The mother found herself telling him about late nights, skipped meals, and the quiet moments when she watched her son play, feeling a mix of awe and hope. She spoke about her dreams, the sacrifices, and the belief that if given a chance, her son could do something extraordinary. After that day, he stayed in contact. He began offering small gestures, like sending books of music and arranging short sessions with a local teacher who would volunteer time to help the boy improve. These gestures, though modest, had a huge impact. The boy's confidence grew, and he began to understand that his talent was noticed and valued. Each note he played carried not only his passion, but also the silent encouragement from someone who believed in him. The mother watched these changes with mixed emotions: joy, relief, and a sense of wonder. She realized that sometimes the world only needed to see a spark, and then someone willing to act on it could help it grow into a flame. She encouraged her son to keep practicing, reminding him that talent alone was not enough. Dedication, discipline, and heart were equally important. The boy's practice sessions became more focused. He worked on complex pieces, challenging himself beyond what he had done before. The music filled their apartment, carrying a warmth that seemed to push away the struggles of everyday life. It was in these moments that she saw glimpses of the future, a future where the music could take him far, beyond the limits of their small town. One evening, after a long day at the diner, she sat beside him at the piano. He played a piece with unusual fluency, his fingers moving confidently, expressing emotion that seemed far beyond his age. She felt tears prick her eyes, pride swelling in her chest. She reached out, holding his small hands for a moment, feeling the pulse of life and promise in his grasp. This was more than music. It was hope made tangible. The man continued to support them quietly. He never imposed, never demanded, only offered guidance and opportunities. He introduced them to people who could help, mentors who could shape the boy's talent, and venues where he could perform. Each opportunity was carefully considered, ensuring that the boy would grow not only as a musician, but as a confident young person ready to face the wider world. The mother realized that sometimes help comes from the most unexpected places. The kindness and recognition from someone outside their small world was changing the trajectory of their lives. She never forgot the small gestures, the books, the lessons, the encouragement, because each one was a reminder that even the smallest act of noticing talent could have a profound effect. As weeks turned into months, the boy's abilities flourished. He played with emotion and precision, learning not only the technical aspects of music, but also the beauty of connecting with an audience. The mother supported him every step of the way, sometimes quietly in the background, sometimes actively helping him prepare for performances. She saw the joy in his eyes, the excitement of discovery, the deep satisfaction that came from mastering a piece of music. Life still had its challenges. Money was tight, and there were days when exhaustion weighed heavily on her. But each time she saw her son's fingers move across the piano keys, she felt renewed. She remembered why she endured long hours at the diner, why she sacrificed comforts, and why she continued to believe in the impossible. The music was not just a talent. It was a bridge to a future that she had only dreamed of, a future where her son could rise beyond the constraints of circumstance. One afternoon, the man invited them to a small recital. The boy played in front of a larger audience than ever before. His performance was met with applause and admiration, a taste of recognition that fueled his ambition. The mother watched from the side, heart pounding with a mix of pride and nervousness. She realized that these moments were building something bigger than music. They were building confidence, resilience, and a sense of purpose. Returning home, they talked about the performance, the notes, the feelings, and the reactions of the audience. The mother encouraged him to think about the next steps, to continue practicing with dedication, and to never lose sight of why he played. He listened, eager and thoughtful, understanding that his journey was just beginning. In the quiet of their apartment that night, the mother reflected on how a chance encounter had changed their lives. A stranger's recognition, a gesture of kindness, the willingness to believe in a child's talent had opened doors she had only imagined. She felt a deep sense of gratitude not only for the opportunities, but for the reminder that in a world full of challenges, there were still people willing to help, willing to lift others up. As she watched her son practice once more, she knew the journey ahead would be filled with obstacles, challenges, and moments of doubt. But she also knew that with dedication, love, and the support of those who believed in him, he could achieve things far beyond their small town. The music in the room carried more than notes. It carried hope, dreams, and the quiet promise that their lives were on the brink of something extraordinary. And so, in the gentle glow of evening light, they continued their journey together. A mother and son bound by love, sacrifice, and the shared belief that talent, when nurtured, could transform lives in ways no one could have imagined. The weeks passed quickly, and with each passing day, the boy's skill grew stronger. He practiced tirelessly, pouring every ounce of energy and emotion into the piano. The mother watched him with a mixture of pride and awe, marveling at the way he could transform simple notes into music that felt alive. She never stopped being amazed at his talent, but she also understood that talent alone would not carry him forward. He needed guidance, opportunity, and the right people to believe in him. The man who had first noticed him continued to visit quietly, never imposing, but always observing and offering small pieces of advice. He introduced them to a local music teacher who specialized in nurturing young talent. The teacher was kind and patient, recognizing immediately the potential in the boy's hands. Each lesson was a new adventure, a chance to explore techniques and melodies that were previously unknown to him. The mother sat in the corner during these sessions, absorbing every word of encouragement and instruction, knowing that these moments were shaping her son's future. At home, the boy's piano practice became more disciplined. He worked on complex pieces, repeating sections over and over until they were perfect. The mother encouraged him, reminding him that persistence was as important as natural talent. She also made sure that he had time to relax and just enjoy playing. Understanding that music was not only about skill but about feeling and expression, the apartment was filled with sounds of determination and joy, each note telling a story of growth, hope, and unwavering dedication. One afternoon, the man arranged for the boy to attend a small local recital. The event was modest, held in a community hall, but it represented something much bigger, the first step into a world beyond their small town. The boy was nervous, but he felt the excitement building inside him. The mother held his hand tightly before he went on stage, whispering words of encouragement. She reminded him to play from his heart, to remember why he loved music, to trust in his own abilities. When he began playing, the room was quiet, everyone listening intently to the sound of the piano. His fingers moved with precision and emotion, weaving a melody that captivated the audience. There were small smiles, quiet nods, and at least one person visibly moved by the performance. When the final note echoed through the hall, the applause was warm and genuine. The boy's face lit up with pride, and the mother felt tears of joy welling in her eyes. She knew that this was just the beginning, stepping stone toward greater opportunities. After the recital, the man spoke privately with the mother. He praised the boy's natural ability and dedication. But he also spoke about the importance of exposure and continued growth. He suggested more structured lessons, access to better instruments, and opportunities to perform in larger venues. The mother listened carefully, feeling both excitement and apprehension. She wanted to give her son everything he needed, but worried about the practicalities. Money was always tight, and the challenges of daily life could not be ignored. The man, sensing her concern, made a generous offer. He explained that he wanted to sponsor the boy's musical development, covering lessons, instruments, and travel to competitions. The mother was stunned, overwhelmed by the unexpected generosity. She felt a mix of gratitude, relief, and disbelief. For so long, she had done everything she could within her limited means. And now someone else was offering to help in a way she had only dreamed of. She accepted the offer, her heart swelling with hope and determination. With this new support, the boy's world began to expand. He attended lessons with a master pianist, learning techniques that challenged and inspired him. He practiced diligently, motivated not only by his love for music, but also by the trust and support he received. The mother continued to be his anchor, encouraging him and celebrating every small victory. Together, they navigated this new chapter with excitement and cautious optimism. The boy's confidence grew with each passing day. He began to understand the importance of performance etiquette, stage presence, and audience engagement. He learned to manage nerves, to focus under pressure, and to communicate emotion through music. The mother watched these changes with pride, recognizing that her son was becoming not only a skilled musician, but a young person with poise and self-assurance. The man continued to guide them subtly, introducing them to other musicians, organizing small performances, and offering advice on how to navigate the world of music. His quiet mentorship created opportunities that the mother could not have imagined, opening doors to experiences that seemed impossible just a few months before. The boy embraced each opportunity with enthusiasm, driven by curiosity, talent, and the desire to honor the sacrifices his mother had made. One evening, the mother found herself reflecting on how far they had come. The apartment, once filled with modest sounds of simple practice, now resonated with complex melodies that showcased growth and dedication. She realized that the journey was not only about talent, but about resilience, love, and the willingness to embrace opportunities when they appeared. She felt gratitude for the stranger who had noticed her son, recognizing that a single act of attention could transform an entire life. The boy's first public performances under the man's guidance were met with praise and admiration. Local audiences began to recognize his skill, and small media outlets took notice. Each performance added to his confidence, preparing him for even larger stages. The mother felt a mix of pride and humility, knowing that, while her son's talent was his own, the support and opportunities he had received were helping him reach his full potential. Despite the progress, challenges remained. The boy sometimes struggled with complex pieces, feeling frustrated when he could not master a section. The mother was there to comfort him, offering patience and encouragement, reminding him that mistakes were part of learning. She also taught him the importance of balance, ensuring that he still had time to play for enjoyment, to explore creativity without pressure, and to remember why he loved music in the first place. Their daily routine continued, blending normal life with extraordinary opportunities. The mother still worked long hours at the diner, but her heart was lighter, knowing that her son was receiving the guidance and support he needed. The boy balanced school, practice, and lessons, growing not only as a musician, but as a disciplined, thoughtful young person. The bond between mother and son strengthened, rooted in love, shared dreams, and the knowledge that they were in this journey together. As the boy's reputation grew, he began to receive invitations to perform in larger venues. Each opportunity was carefully considered, ensuring that it aligned with his development and well-being. The mother remained involved in every decision, protecting him while encouraging growth. The man's guidance continued, offering wisdom and resources without taking control, creating a nurturing environment where the boy could flourish. One afternoon, after a particularly challenging lesson, the boy sat at the piano, exhausted but determined. He played a piece he had struggled with for weeks, and this time it flowed effortlessly. The mother watched, tears of pride in her eyes, knowing that this moment represented countless hours of practice, dedication, and perseverance. She reached out, holding his small hands, feeling the strength and promise in his grasp. Life was still filled with challenges. Hope and opportunity now filled their home alongside music. The mother recognized that while talent was important, the combination of support, guidance, and unwavering love was what truly allowed her son to grow. She marveled at the way a single act of recognition, a stranger's belief in her son's potential, had begun to reshape their lives in ways she could never have imagined. As night fell, they sat together at the piano, the room filled with melodies that told stories of hope, dedication, and dreams realized. The boy played with confidence, passion, and joy, and the mother listened, her heart full. She knew that this was only the beginning, that even greater challenges and opportunities awaited. But she also knew that, with love, perseverance, and the right support, her son's future was full of endless possibilities. In the quiet of the evening, the mother reflected on the journey so far. From the small apartment to the early lessons and the first public performances, each step had been a mix of struggle and triumph. She realized that life often required patience, resilience, and faith in the unseen, and that the smallest gestures of encouragement could create ripples that changed everything. With a deep breath, she looked at her son, playing with a focus and emotion that seemed to light up the room, and felt a profound sense of gratitude and hope for all that was yet to come. The morning was unusually bright, with sunlight spilling through the apartment windows and illuminating the small room where the boy practiced. There was a quiet excitement in the air, though the mother didn't yet know the full extent of what was about to happen. The boy's fingers moved over the piano keys with practiced ease, playing pieces that were once difficult but now flowed naturally under his touch. Each note carried emotion, expression, and the culmination of months of effort, lessons, and encouragement. That afternoon, the man returned with a proposal that left the mother speechless. He wanted to take a more active role in the boy's development, offering a complete sponsorship that would cover lessons, instruments, and travel to competitions and performances. He explained that he had seen the boy's talent grow, that he had watched the determination in his practice, and that he believed the child could reach extraordinary heights with the right support. The mother listened, overwhelmed by gratitude and disbelief. She had dreamed of opportunities like this, but never imagined they could come in such a tangible, generous form. The mother hesitated for only a moment before accepting. She could see the potential in her son, the spark that needed fuel to turn into a flame. She knew this was more than just financial help. It was a door to experiences and guidance that could shape his future in ways she could not achieve alone. The man assured her that he would remain involved, but in a way that respected her role as a mother and guardian, offering support rather than control. Within days, the changes began. A brand new piano arrived at their apartment, gleaming and perfectly tuned. It was larger, with a rich, resonant sound that made every note come alive. The boy's eyes widened with joy and amazement as he touched the keys, feeling the difference instantly. For the mother, seeing her son's excitement was priceless. The music now filled the apartment with a new vibrancy, carrying not only skill and practice, but a sense of possibility and growth. The man arranged for lessons with a master pianist who had trained professionals and prodigies alike. These lessons were intense, pushing the boy to explore techniques and pieces far beyond what he had previously encountered. At first, He struggled with the complexity, but he was determined, spurred on by the trust and generosity of the man who believed in him and by the unwavering support of his mother. Each lesson was an adventure, a challenge, and an opportunity to grow. The boy's confidence grew with each session. His performances began to take on a new level of sophistication and emotion. Meanwhile, the mother adjusted to a new rhythm of life. Though she still worked long hours at the diner, she now had the peace of mind that her son's talent was being nurtured in the best way possible. She continued to encourage him, offering emotional support, listening to his frustrations, and celebrating every victory, no matter how small. She had always believed in his potential, but seeing the doors that were now opening filled her with renewed hope and determination. The man's involvement went beyond lessons and instruments. He introduced the boy to other musicians, creating opportunities for mentorship and collaboration. He arranged for small performances in local venues, giving the boy the chance to share his music with audiences who had never heard him before. Each performance was a learning experience, teaching him how to manage nerves, connect with the audience, and express emotion through his playing. The mother watched, sometimes holding back tears. As her son flourished under the guidance and exposure he was receiving, the community began to notice as well. People who had seen the boy play in small settings began to talk about his talent, and word spread slowly but surely. Local media covered his performances, capturing the story of a young boy whose dedication and natural ability were bringing music to life. The mother was both proud and humble, recognizing that while her son's talent was his own, the opportunities and recognition he was now receiving were the result of the support and generosity from someone who believed in him. One day, the man suggested a larger performance in a city nearby, an event that would be attended by a more sophisticated audience, including music critics and industry professionals. The mother was nervous but trusted that this was an important step in her son's development. The boy prepared diligently, practicing every day and focusing on the pieces that would showcase both his technical skill and emotional depth. The mother was by his side, helping him manage nerves, offering encouragement, and reminding him that he had already accomplished so much when the day of the performance arrived. The boy walked onto the stage with a mixture of excitement and focus. The audience was larger than anything he had experienced, but he felt ready. As his fingers moved across the piano keys, the music filled the hall, capturing the attention and admiration of everyone present. Each note was precise, yet expressive, technical, yet heartfelt. The audience listened in silence, and when the final chord resonated through the room, applause erupted. The boy's face lit up with a mix of pride, relief, and joy. The mother stood in the back, tears streaming down her face, witnessing the culmination of months of hard work, dedication, and support. After the performance, the man spoke to the mother privately, praising the boy's growth and potential. He explained that there were even larger opportunities ahead, including competitions and performances that could propel the boy into the national and even international music scene. The mother felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The path ahead was still full of challenges, but she knew that with continued support, guidance, and dedication, her son could achieve things she had only dreamed of. Life at home continued with a balance of practice, school, and normal daily routines. The boy's skills continued to improve, and he began experimenting with composing his own pieces. His creativity flourished alongside his technical ability, and the mother encouraged this, knowing that originality and self-expression were as important as skill. The apartment was filled with the sounds of practice, creativity, and joy, creating an atmosphere where growth and possibility were constant companions. The man remained a quiet mentor, offering guidance without overshadowing the mother's role. He helped arrange more performances, connected them with experienced musicians, and provided resources for continued development. Each new opportunity was a carefully considered step, ensuring that the boy could grow at a healthy pace while building confidence and experience. The mother felt a deep sense of gratitude and relief, knowing that her son's journey was being guided by someone who truly cared about his well-being and potential. Despite the excitement and progress, the mother reminded her son to remain humble and focused. She emphasized that success was not only measured by applause or recognition, but by the dedication, Heart and love poured into every note. The boy took these lessons to heart, continuing to practice with discipline while enjoying the music for its own sake. His talent had opened doors, but his character and persistence were what would sustain him on the journey ahead. The boy's next performances were met with increasing recognition and admiration. Audiences were captivated by his technical mastery, emotional depth, and genuine love for music. Critics and music professionals began to take notice, and invitations to more prestigious events started to arrive. The mother continued to support him, helping him navigate each opportunity, celebrate successes, and learn from challenges. As months went by, the bond between mother and son grew even stronger. They had faced struggles together, celebrated victories together, and now, with the support of someone who believed in the boy's potential, they were stepping into a world of possibilities that had once seemed out of reach. The boy played with confidence, creativity, and heart, and the mother watched with pride, knowing that every sacrifice, every long hour, and every moment of encouragement had contributed to this journey. The man's generosity and guidance had transformed their lives. The boy was no longer limited by circumstance or resources. He had the tools, training, and opportunities to grow into the musician he was destined to become. The mother marveled at how a single act of recognition had set in motion a series of events that had opened doors she could never have imagined. It was a reminder that kindness, belief, and support could change lives in profound and lasting ways. As the evening settled in, the boy sat at his piano playing with passion and precision. The music filled the apartment, carrying with it the story of their journey, struggle, hope, dedication, and the transformative power of generosity and belief. The mother listened, her heart full, knowing that this was more than just practice or performance. It was the manifestation of dreams, love, and the unwavering belief that with the right support and guidance, even the most extraordinary dreams could come true. The morning air was crisp and filled with a sense of anticipation. The boy woke early, as usual, but today felt different. Today was not just another day of practice or lessons. It was the day of a performance that could change everything. He had spent months preparing for this moment, guided by the lessons of his mentor, the support of his mother, and his own relentless dedication. The apartment was quiet as he approached the piano, running his fingers over the keys, feeling the familiar connection between his hands and the music. His mother sat nearby, quietly observing, her heart full of pride and a touch of nervousness. She had seen him grow from a child with a gift into a young musician with skill, confidence, and the ability to touch hearts through his music. The journey had been long, filled with challenges, sacrifices, and moments of doubt, but they had made it together. She offered him a reassuring smile and whispered words of encouragement, reminding him to play from his heart and trust in everything he had learned. The venue was larger than any he had played in before, filled with an audience of music enthusiasts, critics, and curious onlookers who had heard of his talent. The lights dimmed as he stepped onto the stage, the polished piano gleaming under the spotlight. The room was silent, the anticipation almost tangible, and he felt a surge of both excitement and calm. He took a deep breath, recalling the countless hours of practice, the gentle guidance of his mother, and the encouragement of the man who had first believed in him. As his fingers touched the keys, the first notes floated into the air, delicate and precise. The audience was captivated immediately, drawn into the story woven by the boy's music. Each melody carried emotion, from joy to sorrow, from hope to longing, reflecting not only his talent, but also the depth of his heart and the experiences that had shaped him. The mother watched, holding back tears, as she witnessed the culmination of years of hard work and unwavering belief. Throughout the performance, the boy's confidence grew. He moved seamlessly from one piece to the next, each note resonating with clarity and feeling. The music was more than technical skill. It was a dialogue, an expression of everything he had learned, experienced, and dreamed of. The audience responded, not only with applause, but with a deep sense of connection. Moved by the story told through his fingers and the piano keys. Backstage, the man observed quietly, pride evident in his eyes. He had seen many young musicians, But there was something extraordinary about this boy. A combination of raw talent, dedication, and authenticity that was rare. He understood that the opportunities, guidance, support he had provided had been the spark. But the boy's growth and achievements were entirely his own. He watched as the young musician brought the music to life. Feeling the power of what could happen when potential met support and belief, the performance reached its climax. A piece that the boy had composed himself. Blending technical mastery with emotional depth, each note carried a piece of his journey. The struggles, the sacrifices, the encouragement, and the dreams. The audience was silent, fully immersed in the experience, and when the final note rang out, the room erupted into applause. Standing ovations filled the hall. People cheering not only for the skill but for the soul conveyed through the music. The boy's face lit up with a mix of relief, joy, and pride. He looked toward his mother, who was clapping and smiling, tears of happiness streaming down her face. She felt a sense of fulfillment and awe, knowing that the journey they had taken together from small apartment practices to this grand stage was a testament to perseverance, love, and belief. She had seen the boy grow, not only as a musician, but as a young person with confidence, resilience, and the courage to pursue his dreams. After the performance, they met with music critics, professionals, and other musicians who praised the boy's talent and composure. Offers for further performances, mentorships, and collaborations began to pour in. The mother realized that this moment was not just about recognition, but about opportunity. Doors that had once seemed closed were now opening. And the boy had the skills, confidence, support to step through them. The man approached them, a gentle smile on his face. He praised the boy, acknowledging the years of dedication and the heart he poured into his music. He reminded the mother that her role had been invaluable, that her sacrifices, encouragement, and unwavering belief had created the foundation upon which her son's talent could flourish. She felt a deep sense of gratitude and humility, knowing that this journey had been a partnership of love, mentorship, and opportunity. Back at home, the atmosphere was different. The apartment seemed brighter, filled with the echoes of the performance and the sense of possibility that had expanded beyond their imagination. The boy continued to practice, not out of obligation, but out of love for music, exploring new compositions and refining his skills. His mother supported him, balancing her role as a caregiver with that of a guide and cheerleader, ensuring that the joy of music remained at the heart of his journey. The community around them began to celebrate the boy's achievements as well. Friends, neighbors, and local supporters took pride in his growth. Inspired by the story of dedication, resilience, and the transformative power of encouragement, the mother found herself sharing their journey with others, emphasizing not only talent but the importance of nurturing potential, believing in dreams, and seizing opportunities when they arise. As weeks turned into months, the boy's reputation continued to grow. Invitations to perform in prestigious venues, competitions, and festivals arrived regularly. Each performance was an opportunity to learn, connect, and share his passion with wider audiences. The mother remained steadfastly by his side, offering guidance, emotional support, and a reminder of the values that had guided them from the beginning: dedication, humility, and love. The boy began to inspire others as well. Young musicians in the community looked up to him, motivated by his story and achievements. The mother encouraged him to mentor and share his knowledge, emphasizing that true growth came not only from personal success, but from helping others. The boy embraced this role, teaching small lessons, offering encouragement, and sharing the joy of music with peers who aspired to follow in his footsteps. One quiet evening, after a particularly moving performance, the mother and son sat together at the piano. He played softly, exploring melodies that seemed to come from the depths of his heart. She listened, feeling the culmination of years of hard work, hope, and belief. She reflected on the journey from the early days of practicing on a second-hand piano, through the long hours, sacrifices, and the unexpected support that had changed their lives. She felt a profound sense of fulfillment, Knowing that every struggle had led to this moment of joy and accomplishment, the boy looked at his mother, a smile on his face, and expressed his gratitude not only for her sacrifices, but for her constant encouragement and belief in him. He understood that his achievements were not his alone, but the result of love, mentorship, and the shared journey they had undertaken. The mother felt her heart swell with pride and happiness. Realizing that their story was about more than music, it was about resilience, hope, and the extraordinary possibilities that could unfold when talent, support, and dedication intersect. In the days that followed, their lives continued to evolve. The boy's performances became more frequent and prestigious. He remained grounded, driven by passion and the joy of music rather than fame or recognition. The mother continued her work, balancing normal life with the extraordinary opportunities that had come their way, always keeping the focus on growth, learning, and the love that had brought them this far. The man who had first believed in the boy continued to watch quietly from the background, proud of the progress and accomplishments he had helped make possible. His act of support had created a ripple effect, changing the course of a young life and inspiring others around them. The mother often reflected on the power of that simple act, understanding that recognition, belief, and encouragement could transform not just talent but lives.